Truly He is the one, He has no father or son.
All praises are due to Allahu Allah. All praises are due to Allahu Allah. Allahu 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 Allah. Allahu.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you would like to dedicate copies of one of these publications as Sadaqah Jariyah, continuous blessings for your parents or dear ones who have passed away, or fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, please give us a call so we can place your names on these dedicated publications. You can call us at 954-986-0158, or you can also visit us at www.alhikmat.com.
Allah is the creator of different faces. Allah is the creator of all races. Allahu, 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 Allah.
Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com. Now open Sajida exclusive for all of your Islamic and casual wear. We carry a large selection of silk route and al-karam gowns, scarves, hijabs, hijab pins, and many other accessories. We have exclusive Swarovski gold-filled and sterling silver jewelry. We are located in store 143, Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, located on the opposite side of TNT Chicken Hut. For more info, you can call 328-6682 or 295-5400.
Since 9/11, there has been a great fear of Islam.
We need Muslims, I always say, to speak up in this country.
Much of our Islamic community is perceived to be insular.
Most Americans have never met a Muslim or are not aware of having met a Muslim.
Most people don't have enough education in terms of what the entirety of Islam represents.
It's very easy to hate someone or to put stereotypes on people that you've never interacted with.
But do you think if Muslims were more integrated in society, in America, in the United States of America, then there would have been less anti-Muslim scenario?
I think it's even more important that our clergy speak up. They are, after all, the moral force in our community.
You see, the Islam that is celebrated is one which opens its doors.
Having this type of dialogue in terms of a community outreach or
something that Muslims have to do is go out just like you do and inviting non-Muslims to the iftar. That and you do a lot of speaking to mixed groups.
We have to change the language from us versus them to a language of we.
I believe that if we can stand together against the forces of hatred and be unified in this country, then we can do wonderful things.
Bringing us together to enhance the beauty of humankind.
I think religion can be such a powerful force for unity.
Of course.
We've made it into this powerful force for disunity.
Keep trying to understand each other and care for each other and keep building a world community, because I believe that's what God wants for us all.
And I'm in their mosques and they're in my temple, and it's been a phenomenal experience. I've had a very warm and welcoming experience from all the brothers and sisters in the community.
That every human being is either your brother in faith or brother in humanity.
In Arabic, the word is lita'arafu, so that you will learn to understand one another.
And this is the truth of what it should be. You see, this is why I am so pleased to come here today, to support the work of Alhikmat.
The kind of intolerance and the violence that we see across the globe is rooted in ignorance, which we can overcome by teaching.
Yes.
Also
yes.
rooted in fear, which we can overcome by experiencing, where we can actually live in each other's presence. You know, it's rooted in this myopic kind of my way only, rather than this understanding that maybe all of us have more in common, and at the core of who we are is this truly global family that we belong to.
I'd like to say what a joy and pleasure it is to have Sheikh Shafayat as my friend, as my teacher, as my co-worker in the vineyard of Allah, God, where we work together to make this world a better place, to do God's work, to do the work which we are commanded to do as human beings.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Global Issues on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. It is indeed an honor and a blessing to have with us in Alhikmat studio Amanda Smith. Welcome to the show.
Alhamdulillah, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It is really so good, and I'm sure that our viewers worldwide will definitely benefit from what you have to share with your experience and your coming to Islam. So Amanda Smith is a new Muslim, convert, revert. We're going to talk about that on what aspect, what she feels more comfortable with in saying new Muslim, convert, or revert. All right, that's an interesting issue. And she is a student in speech pathology. So very bright, intelligent sister. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless her, and may He bless us all and bless you viewers. And as I said, I'm sure you'll find a conversation with her very, very interesting. She's really deep into trying to get people to better understand Islam in the United States of America, North America, and worldwide, of course. Especially Muslims and new Muslims and non-Muslims in areas that are sort of gray and people don't understand due to culture, ignorance, arrogance, etc. So Amanda, again once more, it's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah.
Good.
Khair.
Sister Amanda Smith. I got that correct?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Thank you.
So could you share with us your motivation towards coming into Islam?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, guided me here.
Mhm.
I've been very blessed in life to have very good parents, very good family who taught me good values. And alhamdulillah, I was very blessed.
And where were you from?
I was born in the state of Utah. I was originally born into a Mormon family.
You're kidding.
Or I'm sorry, Latter-day Saint family. Their leader.
Latter-day
Saint. Yeah, their current leader has actually recently announced that they don't like the term Mormon anymore. So I'm trying myself to get used to not using it anymore.
Latter-day Saints.
Latter-day Saints.
Of Jesus Christ. Of Christ.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes. Well, I'm saying that because recently I did an interview with a reverend from
the Mormon Church,
the
a
Mormon
bishop.
Church.
MashaAllah.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
you know,
so we had a deep conversation
MashaAllah.
on that.
MashaAllah.
So that's interesting.
MashaAllah.
So
They're
you
very
were
good
born from a family of what is known as the Mormon faith.
Alhamdulillah, you know, they have very good values. I had a very wonderful and alhamdulillah blessed upbringing. Alhamdulillah, I was able to find Islam, start learning about it as a teenager, studied it through school. I met some very good mu'mineen in college who were able to answer my questions and help me out. And after I finished college, alhamdulillah, I just felt I needed to say the shahada. So alhamdulillah.
So did your parents have any problem with you accepting Islam?
I've been very blessed in that the majority of my family members have been very welcoming and have made a lot of effort to try to understand Islam. So I've been very blessed that way, unlike many other converts. Alhamdulillah.
So how many years now have you been a Muslim?
It's been about 5 years now.
5 years in Utah.
Alhamdulillah. Well, I've traveled around a bit,
right.
But alhamdulillah.
Do you have
it's
many
been great.
people from the Mormon faith who accepted Islam?
I only know of one or two others, but inshallah, I feel that as the knowledge of Islam spreads and as the misinformation regarding Islam gets corrected, we'll see more and more people, inshallah, join Islam. The Holy Quran says, وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا, and see the people entering the religion of Islam in flocks, inshallah.
Definitely, and that's the blessing and mercy from God. In our conversation before we went on the show, do you want to share your perspective on the terminology convert, revert, new Muslim? Because as a new Muslim, well, I shouldn't say new Muslim.
Just Muslim at this point.
Just Muslim at this
point. I feel I've fairly converted.
But I want to share the experience with the viewers out there who may not have that idea, so that you are a convert or revert 5 years ago to Islam, so they will understand where you're coming from. And that's the motivation. I want what you say motivate them out there. So what do you feel comfortable with, and what do you think other people don't feel comfortable with when it comes to using the word convert, revert, or new Muslim?
Thank you so much for asking me that. So there is a confusion in our community. A lot of people, because of our belief that everyone is born as a Muslim and that some people just come back to it, people think the word revert is more appropriate. The problem is that for native speakers of English, non-Muslim native speakers of English, the word revert is strictly used in very negative contexts.
In this culture?
In this culture, right.
Yeah.
So for example, I only would use the word revert to say something, he reverted to his drug addiction. Now, there are some people who come to Islam who get the point and are okay with it, but there's a lot of people who are very, very uncomfortable being called this. I personally just want to be called a Muslim. You know, I've been in the Ummah for a very long time, and it feels so natural and normal to me. What I first and foremost want to be seen as a Muslim. And a lot of other people coming to our community, instead of always being seen as just the convert or the American or this person who's coming, they just want to be seen as another Muslim like the rest of our community members.
So we should be safe by saying a Muslim.
Muslim, which is what our Prophet called us.
And if we want to let others know a little more who accepted Islam 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 40 years ago, you know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
Because you're right, and you are in the language specialty field here right now. So a person in this culture looks at revert, going back to bad things.
Exactly. It's only used in negative context.
So from a reality point of view, a realistic point of view, the person is a revert, but from a culture, and it is important, whatever country you belong to, what things are taken into context and out of context.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah, so I think people need to understand that.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure our viewers proud out there, and I'm just trying to be provocative with you having you on the program.
Mashallah.
I'm sure our viewers out there are probably saying, wow, a sister from Utah accepted Islam, and she's here talking about her experience. Muslim women, or women, let's get to women first. Why are women mostly attracted to Islam in America than men?
I feel it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just guiding more women than men. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. The Holy Quran says, فَمَن يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَن يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes to guide, He opens their heart towards Islam. So that's part of the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is something that comes up quite a lot, and a lot of sisters experience some discrimination in our communities and in our masjids because they're women. A lot of times people will assume that when a woman comes to Islam, it's because she met a man, right?
Oh, because of marriage.
Because of marriage, right? And I feel this is a very sad stereotype. Instead of assuming that Islam is true, so she was guided to, you know, subhanAllah, this light that is Islam.
And marriage comes with the package.
And alhamdulillah, marriage is a beautiful part of Islam.
Yes.
It's, you know, however Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to guide a person is how that person is guided. And it's unfortunate in our communities that sometimes people, when they see a sister who's already married or later who gets married, they'll assume that her niyat isn't sincere, that she was just doing it for the man. I know that since
I think that's very unfortunate, very sad.
It is.
It's a lot of ignorance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I don't want to cut you, but with all the men around, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided a woman to be the first person to accept Islam.
SubhanAllah.
Hazrat Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha.
SubhanAllah.
And maybe that's why we have more women coming to Islam
That's
in
very
the West.
SubhanAllah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who knows.
Yeah, Allah has His wisdom in doing things. So, to continue with what you were saying, what do you think attracts women in Islam?
You know, there's lots of things about Islam that I think attract ladies.
You know,
Speaking for myself.
Yes, I also want, not only from yourself, tell me what you hear other sisters saying. You know, because I'm sure non-Muslims who are looking at this show, they might have a second thought when they hear what you're talking about. You know, what do you think from your point of view, from what you hear from other sisters who come to Islam, or other sisters who have not yet accepted Islam, but what attracts them in Islam?
For me, the biggest thing about Islam is I felt that Islam was the most empowering way of life for a woman. What I loved about hijab, which was one of the primary things that made me accept Islam, was the idea that I take my scarf off for whoever I do get married to. And as a woman, it felt incredibly empowering to get to pick which man gets to see me, that it seemed as a very special privilege.
Could you repeat that? That's deep.
SubhanAllah, I think that when a woman has the ability to remove her hijab when she's married, she is empowered to pick which man gets to see her beauty as a privilege.
Wow, that's her choice.
SubhanAllah,
yes.
SubhanAllah. And it's very different if you look, you know, in mainstream society here in this country. A woman's beauty is meant for advertisements, right? Where decorations, it's not something really valued the way that Islam teaches it should be valued. And I think for many other women out there, you know, the idea that a woman is valued, is someone who's treated very high in society, that Jannah is at the foot of a mother, is something that draws a lot of women to Islam.
So you think that women's beauty are being abused by use of, for advertisement?
Like, we're not meant to sell cars. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make us to sell cars. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make us to be on billboards, didn't make us, you know, just to bring in money for other men, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us as something very special. We're a special creation, and our beauty is something special.
Do you think that women look more beautiful in hijab?
That women look more beautiful?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? And what's your definition of that? But for me, you know, the very special part, my hair, you know, the way I get to look in front of my husband is something very special. And subhanAllah, it's made me feel so empowered.
But in your conversation with other sisters, do you hear them say things like they think that they look more beautiful in hijab than out of hijab?
I've heard things like that, but of course beautiful in a different way.
You know, I know women wear it for the spiritual reason, the godly reason. But let's be logical, let's be realistic. What do you think about that?
It's a beauty in a different way. Absolutely. Hijab doesn't make us ugly. I've never felt hijab made me ugly. But it's beauty in a different way. You know, it's something that really, I think, shows the very special aspect of a woman's appearance.
Right. Well, from a man point of view, the reason why I asked you that is because, you know, I speak to a lot of people out there, women and men, but a lot of brothers and a lot of men have expressed that they see more beauty in a woman when she wears her hijab.
SubhanAllah.
And you know why I'm saying that with you is that I don't know if a lot of women realize that.
SubhanAllah.
Because if a lot of women would have realized that, then a lot more women would have got into hijab. Don't you think so?
Inshallah, inshallah, we'll see. You know, as people come to understand hijab in a different way. And I think if we get away from these negative stereotypes, the thing that scares people about a hijab is not looking pretty or ugly. The thing that scares people from hijab in this country is the idea that it's a symbol of oppression, that women are forced to do it or your husband's going to get. A very funny story I have, the very first time my dad saw me in hijab, I was at a zoo with him in Sacramento. And one little itty bitty hair kind of fell out. That happens all the time, you know, you just tuck it back in, not a big deal. And my dad, his eyes got all big and he goes, "Is someone gonna come kill you?" And I said, "No, Dad, Al-Qaeda doesn't have a radar on each one of my individual hairs, you know? It's okay." It was a very funny moment where I got to share with him, "No, you just tuck it in, it's not a big deal, you know? This is who gets to and to not see my hair, but, you know, we're human, it's not a big deal."
You know, based on conversations I've had with people, they have always, especially men, they've always expressed the fact that women look beautiful, more beautiful in hijab, because, you know, that spiritual context and that religious, and I suppose you're right, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, and if the beholder is spiritually minded and God conscious, they will see what is beautiful in the eyes of God.
SubhanAllah. It could be the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the nur of a woman choosing to be obedient.
I once
to
went to a Roman Catholic college to do a lecture, and when I went there, the first question the girls asked me, "Why are women oppressed in Islam?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" They said, "Why are women oppressed with this hijab and this wearing?" And it came to my mind immediately that when I entered the campus, I saw a statue outside of Mother Mary, you know, and she was all well dressed up like a Muslim woman, like a nun dresses.
Exactly.
So I told the person who asked me that question, and the entire audience of over 500 students, I think, I said, "Wonderful question, but I want to ask you a question before I answer it. I saw that you guys got Mother Mary oppressed outside." And they all said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Have you looked at the statue outside, how she's like a Muslim, well dressed? Does it mean that she's oppressed?" No further question.
SubhanAllah.
They all got the message.
SubhanAllah, SubhanAllah. So inshallah, you know, with work like that, as people begin to understand.
Yeah, it's just a matter of people not understanding, coming to the point of women, men accepting Islam, what kind of feedback do you get from people who accept Islam, their role in society or their non-activities in society? What sort of feedback you get from your opinion and from other people?
So what I often hear from a lot of my fellow Muslims who came to Islam is that they love Islam. They feel like their lives are better because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided them to their religion. But going to a masjid is a different experience. So even though, subhanAllah, we see new people coming to Islam every single day, we don't see these people in our centers. And I'm sure you may have seen in your center someone show up once or twice and then they disappear. Right? Yeah. And there's a lot of very serious issues about why converts aren't coming to the masjid, right? In centers, we often experience a lot of trophyism. We experience isolation, discrimination. It can be very difficult to find friends, and it can be especially difficult to navigate a great deal of culture clash, especially when you have a lot of people assuming things like, "Oh, you're a woman, you must just be here for a man." You know, it becomes a very inhospitable environment.
Do you think that other Muslim women feel jeopardized, feel threatened, that here is a new Muslim sister in town? Would she be looking to get married to one of these men? Is that one of the reasons why some of the Muslim women do not hug and give more appreciation and be more welcoming?
That might be a possibility.
No, it's important you express that because I want our viewers to hear that.
I think, you know, it's possible. There is a tribalism that happens when converts try to get married. There's a lot of people, you know, who don't want, you know, some American man to take my daughter, right? I've had the experience where when I was a new Muslim and considering marriage, where a brother's family said that since I'm American, I'm probably a child of Zena. And so, you know, their son shouldn't have anything to do with me, which was A, false, and B, a horrible thing to say.
Of course.
Right? And that's something that's a very common experience. But I think the primary issue is a lot of people just don't recognize that they might be ignorant about a few issues. Even though they're living here in this country, they might be ignorant about the culture here. And they might be ignorant about how a convert feels about things. Often when converts first walk into a masjid, there's a big wave of excitement. You know, a lot of, I like to call mashalahs everywhere. You know, everyone wants to hear the convert story. How did you get here? And what ends up happening is a convert ends up feeling more like a trophy than a member of the community. Everyone wants to hear our warm fuzzy story, but very rarely will someone reciprocate. So this is a very personal thing we're sharing, but then we don't hear someone else's personal story of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And so it can be very isolating, very unsettling. And then especially after sharing such personal details, what often happens is people will turn around and have a conversation with someone else in the masjid, most of the time in a language they don't understand. Now, of course, there are people in our community who don't speak English. Of course, that's completely different. But if
we can understand. They don't understand.
Yeah, of course, of course.
But the
I'm not one of
educated
these
ones, the
Nazis.
educated ones, the one
who does
well-read,
know how.
who are more American than Americans.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, when you turn around and there's this new person in your community and you're leaving them to sit there in a room full of people that they don't understand, it's very, very isolating. And so a lot of converts sit in the masjids by themselves. A lot of converts spend holidays themselves. I remember my very first Ramadan. Ramadan is the loneliest time for most converts. At the time when we're fasting and we're celebrating and we're getting close to our families, a lot of converts are completely alone. Some of them, you know, don't have good relationships with their friends and family anymore. Or even if they do, they're not sitting at the dinner table with everyone else.
Yeah.
And then you come to the masjid for iftar and you're sitting there alone, eating food that you probably don't even recognize or can't quite handle the heat in some
and no one
centers.
to tell you how to eat it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, a lot of converts will also have the experience, right? Well, they'll be eating, just be abruptly stopped and say, no, 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 no. We eat with the right hand, which is very, very startling, right? And this is also another issue where converts will be pushed into doing things or inappropriately chastised. So going back to talking about the issue of hijab, absolutely, you know, I 100% believe hijab is a part of Islam, but for some people coming to Islam, some sisters, they need time to get there, some baby steps. But what commonly happens to a lot of new sisters who haven't taken that step yet is they get pushed into it, right? Or they might get pushed into adopting certain forms of hijab. So for example, I know a sister who, for her first time in a masjid, was told, you have to wear an abaya, and was really pressured to put on this garment that she had never seen anything like it before, right? So instead of wearing hijab using clothing she was familiar with, people were pushing this cultural garment upon her. And even just hijab in general, right? People, they need to take baby steps to get used to these things.
Well, it's their iman development. They have accepted Islam, and as the knowledge and the iman and the faith grows, everything else come along. And that is because of ignorance. A lot of these people of different cultures, they unfortunately pressure converts, and I don't know, it's very frustrating. I see that happening all the time. You see, because I came myself from the Caribbean.
MashaAllah.
I grew up in a very, 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 very strong Christian society, multicultural, multi-faith. So I've seen this diversity. I live among people of different faiths. You know, my relatives, my blood ties are all of different faiths. So I can understand a person coming into Islam and how they think and how they grow. And when I see a lot of these immigrant Muslims, and I want to say immigrant Muslims to America, like myself and us all, but then they're educated people in the academic world, but then they're so ignorant in the realistic world, in the Islamic world, and they sort of frustrate new Muslims. Men and women.
Yes, and it makes it a difficult experience to come to a masjid if you know you're going to come in and be pushed into something you don't understand or honestly disagree with. You know, some Muslims may have a difference of opinion on one issue or another.
But I think that's an important message you must give and let a lot of these Muslim women know that they should not pressure new Muslims
before they're ready.
Because of the fact that they're scared that, or they're threatened that these new Muslims will marry their men. I think that is so sad.
It's very sad, and it's very racist, that
It
that
is
sort
racist.
of intention
It is
there.
not right.
Yeah, absolutely. And racism is another big issue a lot of converts experience.
And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about
Let's
that
talk
because
about it.
We have already been speaking for over 20 minutes. Oh, yeah,
Subhanallah.
20 minutes.
Subhanallah.
So we've got to go on a short break. And when we come back, we'll continue on some of those other issues, because people who come into Islam are coming from different cultures, different races, different background. And that in itself is a difficulty to get adjusted with in a mosque and with different cultures and different people. So I think it'll be interesting to talk about that when we come back.
Inshallah.
So we're now about to go on a short break. When we come back, we will continue this conversation with Sister Amanda Smith on some of these different areas of her experience and feedback from people who have accepted Islam, and especially women who have accepted Islam. Thank you very much.
Alhikmat Services, serving the Muslim community and non-Muslim community. Dawah and interfaith activities, distribution of Quran and Islamic publications, sponsoring students to study Islam, Alhikmat Da'i, Dawah and Interfaith Institute. Also, Friday sermons by Sheikh Shafait are live on alhikmattv.com from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Download our free Alhikmat TV app on your mobile devices. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Feel free to donate to Alhikmat Dawah Services online with a credit card or PayPal at alhikmat.com. For more details, contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or our local number 954-986-0158 and visit us at www.alhikmat.com. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Global Issues on Alhikmat TV, 24/7 online. And once more, it is indeed a pleasure to have with us in Alhikmat studio Sister Amanda Smith. Welcome back to the show, Sister.
Thank you so much.
I think we had a very, very interesting conversation before we went on the break. So we ended on the note of the racial aspect. One of the reasons why a lot of new Muslims or converts do not feel comfortable in coming to the mosques or the Islamic centers. Do you think that's a reality?
Yeah, racism definitely plays a component. Speaking as a white person who doesn't have it nearly as bad, I have experienced some discrimination in mosques.
Truly.
People will make assumptions that since I am from this country, right, I must have done all kinds of horrible things. And so, again, like the example, I was accused of being a child of Zina, right? People will often, ask me very disrespectful questions, assuming like, oh, you're an American, you must be this way. You must not be quite as moral as we are.
Oh, you're probably an FBI.
Oh, that's absolutely.
You're an American
absolutely.
new Muslim. Are you CIA?
You must be CIA. And that's something that, especially for brothers, I
Do
have
you
not
think
met.
a lot of converts face that?
Yes. So I've not met a single Muslim brother, not one brother, who has not been accused of being part of the FBI. Every single brother I know has been accused of being an FBI or CIA agent, which sends the message, we don't want you here, you're not welcome here, which is why a lot of these converts don't come back to the masjid.
Oh,
right?
interesting.
So that's a very serious issue. And then for converts of color, it's doubly so. I'm not a convert of color, so I don't want to speak for someone else. But based on what I've heard, I have heard a lot of very hateful remarks directed towards people of color. They think I'm white, so certain prejudices they have, they think they can share with me. What a lot of people don't know is that actually one of my parents is Latino. And so I have a very close affinity with Latin culture. And here in South Florida, I've had experiences where somebody, Cuban, cuts off somebody in the masjid in traffic. They come into the masjid and, Cubans have no values and, this, that, and the other. And just really awful things said about people of Latin descent, African Americans. There's a lot of racism that just gets sort of openly spoken in centers, which is really absolutely not okay. And it sends the message to these converts of colors that we don't want you here. One thing that I've been, especially concerned about is these converts when they come and they have kids. So
do you get that feedback from all cultures?
No.
I mean, I don't want to hit on anybody here, but do you get it from all the different Muslim cultures?
So, alhamdulillah, I've had experience with Muslims who are Arabs, who are Africans, who are islanders, who are Iranians, Pakistanis, India, and I've felt a lot of that coming
The
from
same feedback from them all.
From a lot of them. Absolutely a lot of them, right? And so I think, you know, everyone, we're all human beings, you know, astaghfirullah, a lot of us do have prejudices that we may not even fully recognize, right? That's what the big issue is in our political discourse. And what's important is to recognize we have those prejudices in order to stop them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that we have been made into different tribes and nations so we may come to know one another.
To know one another.
Subhanallah. And here in the United States, we have a very special opportunity to do that doesn't exist in most other places in the world.
Of course.
And here in South Florida, even more so than most places in the rest of the United States.
Yes.
And so when you see a new convert come into the community who's Latino, who's white, who's African American, or from anywhere else in the country, or anywhere else in the world, I mean, it's important to make an effort, learn about their culture, learn more about their perspective and their worldview. Don't assume, right, that the worst about whatever you might think about their society is something that they do. Right.
I like that point, Sister Amanda. And I think that a lot of times, and I'm so really happy that when we spoke to you about getting on this show, you insisted that it should not be about your journey to Islam, more about
the post-Shahada story.
The post-Shahada story.
Alhamdulillah.
And I would really like to urge you, even though it's global here, that you should really take that message out to the Muslim world, because that is so true what you're saying. A lot of times you go into the mosque, everybody's about they're so happy to see the sister accept Islam and this brother. But what happens after that, a lot of our Muslims, because of culture and ignorance, they sort of move back and leave these new Muslims alone. They don't go the 9 yards to get them accommodated and for them to feel at home. Absolutely. And I feel you as again, I don't want to say new Muslim, but as a blessed, intellectual, educated sister who have accepted Islam and have gone through that experience, should start letting the Muslim world know that. Maybe the Muslim sisters don't know that.
You know, inshallah, with the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa
yes, I
ta'ala.
agree what you're saying,
Absolutely.
but maybe they're too ignorant. They cannot recognize their mistake.
And that's something I absolutely think. You know, I don't think anyone sitting in the masjids is there, oh, I hate converts. You know,
I don't
no
think
one has
so.
that attitude. A lot of it is just honest ignorance and honest mistakes. And so, thank you so much, and alhamdulillah to be here.
I think you should do that. And if there's any
Inshallah.
way we can work together in making that happen, sister. You know, I mean, the only thing I think Muslim sisters will feel threatened about is if they see a nice, pretty convert girl comes to Islam, they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose our son, we're going to lose our husbands, we're going to lose our brothers from our culture. Well, okay, let's say as human beings, they got that feelings there, but whoever Allah has matched and put together, that they cannot change. But other than that, they should not be snubbing people who come to Islam.
Absolutely. You know, and there's a few simple things that,
because you know what, again to disturb you, that happens within Islam. Regular women who see an unmarried girl come by, they start feeling threatened. And it doesn't matter which culture. So I can sort of be realistic to understand them, where, I mean, it should not be, it's not the right thing, but let's be real, it happens in every culture. You know what I'm saying? A regular school, girls, workplace, somebody comes in, unmarried, other people feel threatened, whether it's male or female. That's a human jealousy, egoistic kind of issue. So we can overrule that. But generally, I don't think that should be that should be an issue.
If someone feels that way, that's something to overcome.
Definitely.
Right? That's definitely not natural. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to have. And again, the Quran tells us not to be suspicious of each other. So there's an ayah in Surah An-Nisa, when I read it, it made me feel so vindicated. It says, وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ أَلْقَى إِلَيْكُمُ السَّلَامَ لَسْتَ مُؤْمِنًا. Do not say to anyone who gives you the salam that they're not a believer. And then at the end of that ayah, it says, كَذَلِكَ كُنْتُم مِّن قَبْلُ فَمَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ فَتَبَيَّنُوا. You were like that before. So everyone today who's a Muslim, some back has some relative somewhere who was not. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided us. And then it says فَتَّبَيِّنُوا, right? So seek out, seek clarification. So don't assume someone's not a Muslim. Don't assume that someone has a bad intention towards you, right? Or that someone's out here just trying to steal your men or steal your women, right? You know, we should first assume the absolute best in each other. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us to do through the religion of Islam.
Of course, and I really think with your understanding, you should make some extra effort. I'm not saying you're not making the extra effort.
With the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa
or
ta'ala.
go to 9 yards
Inshallah.
to probably get this message out to different masjids,
Inshallah.
different mosques, different communities. I strongly feel that a lot of sisters do not understand this point. They're probably not even aware that they're guilty of it. They know it's happening because I hear a lot of times sisters and brothers like this person accepted Islam, that person, but we don't see them. But sometimes they themselves who are saying this probably are not aware that they are guilty of the crime of not keeping those brothers and sisters there.
Inshallah. So alhamdulillah, I've had the opportunity to talk about this in 3 different centers in Seattle, 2 here in South Florida. I've been very honored to be invited here today. Anyone who would love to have me come and share, I'm very happy to do that.
And we're going to let our viewers know Sister Amanda Smith is willing
I'm available
to speak on this issue to our Muslim brothers and sisters, who are born Muslim brothers and sisters, who have not understood the right methodology in welcoming and accommodating new Muslims to Islam. And I think that's a shortcoming because of lack of knowledge, ignorance, culture, and the whole 9 yards. And the sister with the experience should be able to share that.
Inshallah.
Yeah,
Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes that easy.
I think you can do that.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Thank you
You know,
so much.
as we talk, we still got a few minutes again. I mean, not
Alhamdulillah.
too much, but we got a 5 minutes plus to talk. What other area do you think is of concern for brothers and sisters who come into Islam to understand better, in the sense that this sort of misunderstanding, or Muslims who are born Muslims, that they should better understand about people who come to Islam? Either way.
Yeah, so the first thing that I always counsel, my fellow Muslims who have come to Islam is, even though it can be very difficult and there's a lot of culture clash, to not let a bad experience keep you from coming to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because as we keep coming and we keep interacting with the community, inshallah, things will change. What I don't want to see is more converts in the community making their own masjids, and then we just add to the problem of this is
segregation.
Exactly, which is a very serious issue in our community, right? Our centers are often very culturally segregated, but we should be more integrated.
So a new Muslim should know it's not an Islamic problem, it's a people problem.
It's a people problem.
And don't let that people and their culture get into you and Islam.
Exactly, exactly. The advice I have for Muslims who want to welcome converts but just kind of don't feel how, the first thing that I always recommend everyone does is get to know that person, as a fellow Muslim. So if you want to know the convert story and ask it, that's okay if they want to share, right? But share something about yourself. So every single person who is a Muslim in the United States, I like to think in a way, is also a convert. No one forces people to come to the masjid here, right? There's no cultural pressure to do it. In fact, there's a great deal of pressure not to do it. So share your story of choosing to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make friendship through Islam that way. The next thing I recommend is to include converts in your activities. So one of the most blessed occasions that I had was the very first time I was invited for iftar in Ramadan. And it was a very simple thing. These sisters, I don't even think they realized how much it meant to me to have an iftar with other Muslims and to be seen as a friend. It was just, I almost kind of want to tear up thinking about it. But a lot of converts are totally alone. Invite converts to your weddings. Right? So a lot of Muslims coming to Islam don't know what a Muslim wedding looks like, which again can cause problems later down the road when they want to get married, because it's easier to take advantage of a convert if they don't even really have the full picture of what's normal and what's not. Absolutely. The next thing is, if you see a convert doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, or a practice they should implement, don't push somebody, don't jump and do nahyan and munkar or amr bil ma'ruf in a very harsh way, but speak to them in a very kind way, a very soft way, and ask them right? If the help that you're offering is something they actually need. So something that will often happen in masjids is a person will think, oh, I need to tell this convert something, and they'll just burst into a long discussion about an issue that the convert either doesn't need, it's an inappropriate issue, or they already know. So for example,
it may just be the right thing in the wrong time.
At the wrong time, exactly.
Yes,
I met a
yes.
brother once at a conference who told me that at one of the centers that a brother had come up to him and made him sit down for a 2-hour-long discussion about jinn, right? So this brother just, really pushed and said, no, you need to hear this about jinn. And then, he told me, he's like, but I'm still learning how to pray. What would have been better is if the brother asked, hey, I know you're new, you're still learning, how can I help you? That brother would have had the ni'mat to teach that person how to pray, right? Which is more important than the 2-hour discussion about jinn. That's good to know, but
so then our Muslims need to know if they are educated enough. I mean, we got to share every verse that we know with others, but they got to know where and when and who at the right time.
Exactly. And the best way to do that is, instead of assuming something about a person, talk to that person. Remember, they're your fellow Muslim, a fellow person. They're not just something, we're not putty to be molded, right? We're human beings.
Good. So, I know I didn't ask you this question, but sometimes you leave the best for the last. So, are you married?
And alhamdulillah, I got married very recently. It's been a year now.
And I just wanted the audience to know that before you start getting proposals offline.
No,
so it's important because we have spoken about marriage, and someone out there may be thinking, why is she talking about people threatening about marriage or not? So we want to let them know you're married.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, and that's a blessing.
A great husband. One of the things I loved about him when I was first discussing the possibility
your
with
husband
him,
is in the medical field, am I sure?
No, he's a physicist.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah. And when we were talking about marriage, he was, so respectful. I was just so shocked to finally meet a brother who didn't assume negative things about me because I'm an American. He didn't try to tell me I should change my name. That's another misunderstanding in our communities. It's not wajib to do that. And he treated me just like Sister Amanda. I'm a fellow Muslim, Sister Amanda, and it for me, and this might be surprising to your viewers, but it was so shocking to be finally treated with respect by another Muslim male. And so, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me with a very great
Is that one
ni'mah.
of the issues that our Muslim sisters face when they come into Islam? When our Muslim sisters come into Islam, do they feel, threatened is not the right word, but belittled?
Disrespected.
And disrespected by
very often.
Some of these Muslims who get married to them?
Sometimes, or not even necessarily by people. Sometimes, of course, that very sadly happens, but even by others in the community. A big issue is for new sisters who just become Muslim, they don't really know how to navigate the marriage process because the way it's done in our communities is extremely different from the rest of the Western world. And so the way we know how to navigate finding a partner as a non-Muslim is extremely different. It takes a lot of time to figure out how to do it. And so I have another experience. A sister, she put this post on Facebook. She's like, I met this brother and he was so awful to me and so disrespectful and this, that, and the other. And then, I asked her a few questions. Well, what happened? How did he approach you? And what she didn't know, because she was a new Muslim, is that Muslim men and women aren't really supposed to go out on dates alone together, right? And so she had just barely taken her shahada, put on her hijab, and a Muslim man comes up to her and says, hey, do you want to come out and get some coffee with me? MashaAllah. And she didn't see the problem in that. But for many people who are used to the way our community is, that's a huge red flag, right? And so that's an issue on top of course, just the very sad regular issues of discrimination and and suspicion. So that is something also that I encourage for Muslims who understand the Western lifestyle as well as how things work in our community. If you see a convert being taken advantage of, if you see someone trying to push a convert into an inappropriate marriage, right, be strong enough to say something, right? That convert might think they have to. They might hear that hadith, oh, you need to complete your deen, and they might think that they have to marry someone Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make it fine for them. They don't feel like they have the right to self-advocate and say, I don't think this person is right for me.
Yeah, they don't think they got the rights of the choice.
Which in Islam we absolutely do have the right of choice.
Totally.
Absolutely.
You know what I have experienced also? A lot of converts do not even know the choice of mahar. Many times I perform weddings for people with converts, and the poor convert girl has no clue that she has the choice of requesting what she wants for her mahar. And she's just settled there with whatever she gets.
Which isn't fair.
It's
to the
unfair.
Sister. Absolutely.
That's a condition. And I would clearly ask them, I said, do you know you have the choice at this point in time to say if you need or you request more than what is being offered to you? That's your choice, and this is the time to say it.
Absolutely.
And if you say it now, this is it. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. That's it.
Exactly. You know,
because a lot of them are not told, and I am asking these girls who are brides to be, and they're like, well, yeah, we're told about it, and the ring is it. I'm saying, do you know that the ring is a gift? It can be your mahar, but is it a gift or is it your mahar? And they're puzzled.
Yeah.
Have you come across girls with
that issue, and then also the issue of not knowing that you have the right to stipulate marriage conditions in your marriage contract, or even to know that you have a right to a marriage contract.
Yes.
It's another issue, right? And so I want to thank you actually, Sheikh, for stopping and saying that to these sisters to verify they know what their rights are. What you are doing is being a positive advocate for somebody who doesn't know what their rights are. And mashallah, I hope more people in the community are brave enough to do that.
I feel sorry for them. You know, I've seen places where men offer $5 as a mahar in America.
That's ridiculous.
Totally ridiculous.
It's mustahab to not ask for an extravagant mahar, but it's not okay to have bukhul and to be stingy towards who's to be your wife. You know, she's worth more than $5.
I didn't hear that, you know. I performed a marriage. When I asked the man what is the mahar, he said $5. I look at the sister and I'm like, you know, at one point, I were like, I hope this man doesn't get angry and think that I need a commission from this now. But I'm asking the sister, are you really satisfied with this? Are you agree with this? Is this your deal? Or do you know you have a better right than this? Or what is this going on here? And, you know.
She may not have known, or she may have been told, oh, no. Islam teaches us to ask for a humble mahar. Don't be like these greedy girls who ask for a big thing. And someone who's new in the community and doesn't know what's normal and what's not is going to feel like that's reasonable.
And then there are a lot of people who come now and said, you know what, in our culture, we give $1 on the day of the marriage. And muakhar, later on, we give it 100,000. That never comes.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a safeguard so you don't divorce me, right? But American women aren't going to think that way.
And the poor girl has no choice. She never sees that. She never.
It's not fair.
It's really not fair.
Absolutely not fair, and it's taking advantage of someone's ignorance. You know, Allah subhanahu
and
wa
the
ta'ala doesn't want you to
innocence.
do that. Absolutely, absolutely. And then later on down the road, right? If things get hard and if the convert realizes that she has been treated unfairly, right? She's not going to feel comfortable coming to the community, being part of the community. And so there's a perception, right? When things like this happen and the other issues I talked about, and they don't want to come into the community, they stay home. They worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at home. And then a lot of people have the perception, oh look, they did kufr. See, we knew they weren't really Muslim. We knew she was just in it for the man. We know Americans can't be real Muslims. And so there's this assumption, right, that converts are doing kufr. That's not why they're not here. But that's not the case. The case is they're worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at home because that's where they feel safe and where they can feel closer to God.
I think that's an area as a sister, you got to help some of those sisters again. Let them understand that they got the choice for the mahar, and they must make their condition. I mean, it has been designed by Allah and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we need to understand that. And that has its barakat and its blessings.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah, it has its blessings into it.
Absolutely.
So there are really a lot of issues post accepting Islam, as we would say, post Shahada, and I think that you have clarified a lot of these issues. We have gone another 15 minutes or so, or 20 minutes we have been talking on this second. You know, when you talk interesting things, time just goes.
Thank you so much. It's a real ni'mat.
So what would you like to share with our viewers worldwide? And we do have a very worldwide audience, and I mean all over the world.
SubhanAllah. Just the big thing that I want to get across for everyone out there, no matter how you came to Islam, is to remember that we're all one ummah and we're all Muslimin, and to see each other that way first and foremost.
Excellent. So once more, thank you very much,
Thank you so
Sister
much.
Amanda Smith. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and we would love to have you come back again.
Inshallah.
And we may discuss some of these issues we spoke about in details.
Inshallah.
For the benefit of other people. And this might be a good forum where we can have this and send it out to women, to men, to new Muslims, to Muslims who are born Muslims, to better understand how they should establish this better relationship with people who have accepted Islam.
Inshallah. Inshallah, tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We make this ummah a stronger ummah altogether. Inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Well, again, it was a blessing and a pleasure to have with us in Alhikmat studio Sister Amanda Smith to share her experience, her knowledge, and the feedback she got from other sisters and brothers who have accepted Islam, and also her experience and what they have expressed on their experience with people from different cultures and different backgrounds. Very important bridge to build with new Muslims and, may I say, regular Muslims, or born Muslims of different cultures. This is very important, and it is becoming a very, very important issue nowadays, especially in the United States of America. So thank you very much for viewing. And as the sister said, anyone who would like to invite her to talk to their congregations about Islam, etc., please feel free to contact us at Alhikmat office. We will get in contact with her, get you to get in contact with her, and the arrangements can be made. It has been a pleasure being with you, viewers. May Allah bless you. God bless you. Peace be upon to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
When we educate the world, ignorant Muslims as well as non-Muslims, about Islam, the message of the Quran, the lifestyle of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then those ignorant people and those people with hate out there, we may not be able to convince everyone, but inshallah, bi'idhnillah, we will be able to convince most of them.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the believers in the mutual kindness, compassion and sympathy are just like one body. When any part of the body suffers, the whole body feels pain.
We don't wake up and spread this message of Islam and get people to understand the true message of the Quran and the true life pattern and conduct of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people will have this sort of hate against us. But the world has 1.5 billion Muslims, beautiful masjids. Muslims got everything, but yet you got a lot of haters, and you got a man shooting people on March 15th in New Zealand. These buildings and these schools did not stop that. We got to spread the message to eradicate that hate and that misunderstanding against Islam and Muslims in the world. The beautiful buildings won't do that.
Truly He is the one, He has no father or son.
All praises are due to Allahu Allah. All praises are due to Allahu Allah. Allahu 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 Allah. Allahu.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you would like to dedicate copies of one of these publications as Sadaqah Jariyah, continuous blessings for your parents or dear ones who have passed away, or fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, please give us a call so we can place your names on these dedicated publications. You can call us at 954-986-0158, or you can also visit us at www.alhikmat.com.
Allah is the creator of different faces. Allah is the creator of all races. Allahu, 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 Allah.
Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Karoni Savannah Road, Charlieville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com. Now open Sajida exclusive for all of your Islamic and casual wear. We carry a large selection of silk route and al-karam gowns, scarves, hijabs, hijab pins, and many other accessories. We have exclusive Swarovski gold-filled and sterling silver jewelry. We are located in store 143, Caroni, Savannah Road, Charlieville, Chaguanas, located on the opposite side of TNT Chicken Hut. For more info, you can call 328-6682 or 295-5400.
Truly he is the one, he has no father or son.